everybody, welcome and blessings. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the topic of anger and how to master your anger. I thought that I would do this video because I'm seeing, maybe some of you may agree with me in this, that this world is becoming an angrier place and the people in it are becoming angrier and angrier. So what I thought I'd do in this video is to provide you with a few strategies to help you with anger and anger management, because at the end of the day, I believe what it all boils down to is self-control. And I'm finding and seeing that self-control is something that is diminishing among people in this society. So hopefully the things that I share in this video will be a help to you and a blessing to your life. So let's get into the topic of how to master your anger. Before we go into the strategies of anger management, I think it's very important that we first start with the definition of anger. And simply put, anger is a very strong emotion that comes out of antagonism. So what does that mean? That means that people, we tend to get angry when we are provoked. We tend to get angry when there's wrongs. Something wrong is done against us. We tend to get angry when we suffer some sort of injustice. Those are the things that typically make people angry. When it comes to topics like this, I really love to turn to the Bible, because the Bible provides excellent principles and great guidance on topics like this. And it actually helps us with strategies to help us to govern our behavior and our conduct. So, the Bible is a great resource. That's why I love the book. So the Apostle Paul in the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 26, he actually talks about anger, and he gives us a really great strategy and a really great principle here. And I think it's something that we all should be living by. Here's what he says about anger. He says, "In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry." That's a wonderful, wonderful thing to live by. A great principle, life principle, right? So that's how the Apostle Paul says that we should handle anger. Now, don't get it twisted. The Apostle Paul is not saying, and the Bible is not saying, that we should never be angry. Anger is, that's silly. Anger is a natural it's a natural emotion. We are angry from time to time. It happens. The Bible actually mentions anger quite a bit. It's mentioned over 255 times, Even in the Old Testament, especially in the Old Testament, there's even talk of God being angry in certain instances. And in the New Testament, Jesus being angry about certain things. So it happens. So that is not what the Bible is saying. I think what the issue here is not us getting angry, because we're going to get angry about stuff, okay? And living in this world, you're going to get angry about something. The issue is what we do with that anger, right? So we have to be able to channel it in a positive way where it's not destructive to us. And speaking of destruction, and when you look at the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, when it talks about anger, people being angry, God being angry, individuals being angry, usually what's in conjunction with that and what's joined with that is the word burning, right? So the reason why the Apostle Paul is saying, do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, because anger will burn within you. And when we're angry, we can physically feel it, right? We can actually feel our temperature rising. We can feel our bodies getting hot, getting hot in the face. And for some of us, getting red in the face, right? So we can actually feel it bubbling up, and it actually feels like a fire, right, on the inside. And actually it does feel like burning. I believe that's why the Bible said that it's like a burning anger, right? So what happens when something is on fire? What happens when something is burning? Eventually, if it's not put out, it will consume everything. It will consume you and everything around you. So this is why the Apostle Paul is simply saying that we cannot allow anger to fester with us or to sit within us. We can't just chill out with anger, right? So there are times when you're going to be angry about things for a while, for some time, right? But you have to work on that every day, not to let it consume you, right? So we cannot sit with our anger, because what the Bible is saying is that, it's something that can consume us. it's something that actually, anything that burns will cause destruction, right? It could something that could potentially destroy us and other people. So do not sit with your anger to let it burn within you. Yeah, you're gonna get angry. The Bible says be angry, but don't sin, right? Be angry, but don't let the sun go down. So don't sit with your anger. So that's the principle here, and it's a very good one. So let me get into my strategies that I have for us, because I say us because these are things that I practice often, because whether you know it or not, I'm a person who is easily angered. That's why this topic is near and dear to me. And if you're watching this and you're a person who's easy to be angered, this is definitely a video for you. And these are strategies that I employ very often, and it's helpful to me, and I hope that it's helpful to you. So strategy number one, and a number of you may do this already, which is a very good thing, is the release strategy. And the release strategy is part of the release strategy is number one, the release strategy of space, creating space. So if that person provokes you that you're dealing with, if you're in a situation where you're being provoked by a person, by a group of people, if you're in a situation where that has angered you, a good thing to do is to walk away and to give yourself some space so you can breathe. And literally sometimes you have to take a deep breath in and exhale out, because that will help to release some of the anger within you. And sometimes the physical distance, oftentimes the physical distance is very, very helpful to helping you get that anger out so you don't lash out and strangle someone. Hopefully you won't do that, but sometimes, it feels that way. But, if you're that angry about a certain thing, so if you feel like you're going to lash out, if you feel like you're going to explode, if you feel like you're really going to say something that can cause some serious damage and have some serious consequences by your actions or by what you say verbally, it's a very, very good idea to create some space. And by creating that space, what you're doing is that you're releasing some of that anger out. I didn't say this earlier, but the first two strategies that I'm going to give you are things I feel you should be doing immediately when you're experiencing some sort of anger, especially when you're very angry. And the last strategy I'm going to give you is something, for long term, so you can, keep yourself happy and keep anger at bay. So going back to the space. So it's very important that we create space for ourselves, because that creating space actually helps us to release it. Now, I am not saying, let us not get it twisted again, that there are not times where we should stick around and express our anger, because there are times where people need to see that we are angry, right? Especially when it comes to injustice. People need to see that what they're doing is not right. People need to see that what they said is not okay, or what they're doing to you is harmful. People need to know that it's not right, and they need to physically see the expression on your face. They need to hear the tone in your voice. They need to see that you are angry, so they'll know that what they're doing and what they said and what's happening and what's going on isn't right. So expressions of anger can actually be a good thing and the appropriate response in many situations. But if you feel like you may go to an extreme, and you may get to a point of no return, or where you may not be able to control yourself, this is when you use the strategy of release strategy of creating space, so you don't reach out and touch somebody in a way they may not like. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, when it comes to the release strategy, is self-talk. So it's good to talk to yourself and to say, okay, it's going to be okay, and to reason with yourself and to get yourself back in your right thinking, right? I think this strategy is good for those of us who are, I will say, targets, right? Those of us who are in oppressed groups, those of us who are part of disenfranchised groups, right? So as I sit here, you see that I am a Black woman. So I am part of, I believe, a targeted group, right? Targeted group meaning that, because of my gender and my race, that I'm going to encounter in my life people, be it through sexism, racism, or both, people who are dedicated to antagonizing me based on who I am in the world. So there are going to be people, and you may not even necessarily be in a quote unquote targeted group or oppressed group, but there are going to be people in your life who are going to be, or that you may come across, who are going to be dedicated to antagonizing you based on what they believe about you, whether it be true or not true. That's a sick way of existing, and it's a sad way of existing, and it's sick thinking, but based on what they believe and their belief system, they're going to treat you a certain way. And they're going to make it a point to antagonize you and to make you angry or upset you in some way. So a good example is, this doesn't happen all the time, but more than I would like it to happen. If I go into a store and, I experience a difference of treatment based on, the color of my skin. And, as an empath, I could kind of like pick this stuff up immediately. I'm a highly sensitive person, and I'm also a seer, so I can pick the energy up. And it's so fascinating to me how I can see the switch and feel the switch in their energy, these individuals that I may come across. And I can actually see the alignment of their thinking and their belief system with how they're going to treat me, with an action that they're about to take, right? So when I see that, I put that shield up. You watching this, guys, put the shield up. I put that shield up because I am ready for the attack that may come. And it usually comes when I feel it, right? So I'm thinking in my mind that these people are thinking, because this is what it feels like. And this is just a scenario, an example, right? They're like, I see you coming. I work in this store. I know I can help you, but I am going to make you wait, because I want you to feel like you don't belong in this store. Or, I see you coming. Oh yeah, I saw you coming a mile away, but I am going to behave and conduct myself as if you do not exist. You're invisible to me. Yeah, I know I work here and it's my job to help customers, but you're invisible to me because I feel that you should not be helped. I want you to feel like you're less than, because that's what I believe about you and your people. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take it up a notch. I'm going to help people who I believe who are more deserving of my help and service. I'm going to give them the best service possible in front of your face because of who I believe you are and what I believe about you. Here's the last one. Here's another one. Yeah, I saw you. I saw you from a mile away too. I saw you, but here's the thing. I'm going to follow you, and I'm going to make you uncomfortable, and I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to be on your back. I'm going to be on your heels because I want to make you feel uncomfortable. I am going to ruin your day. I'm going to provoke you. I'm going to antagonize you. I'm going to try to make you get out of character because I want you to behave the way that I feel that you are, or the type of person that I believe. Although I don't know you, I don't have any history with you, I want you to behave that way because that's what I believe that you are, and I'm going to provoke you because I want to call the cops, and I want to see you get in trouble because once again, you don't deserve to be here, and this is what I believe about you. And I have dedicated myself to antagonizing certain types of people and certain groups of people based on my very faulty and very twisted and very sick belief system. There are people, unfortunately, out there, and it may not be a racial thing or a gender thing or whatever, but there are going to be people, and they may not even know you or have a history with you, who will be dedicated just by looking at you to antagonizing you. So if you're watching this and you happen to be in a disenfranchised group, please know, and we have to go back to what the Apostle Paul said, do not let the sun set. Do not let it on your anger. Do not let it fester within you, because as a target or a targeted person, you could be in a perpetual state of rage and anger throughout your life. And I personally will not give another human being the satisfaction or that type of power over my life. You will not dictate the way that I feel. So how I do that, and it's something that I do come across often, not all the time, but how I do that when it does happen is through self-talk. So one of the strategies that I employ and that I have, and to help me out, number one, you have to have, work on your self-esteem and know who you are, regardless of how people may try to treat you or may treat you, right? That's number one. Number two, you talk to yourself, remind yourself of who you are. And another self-talk strategy is that this is a fact, though. This is a fact. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone. Tomorrow is not promised to me. So when I find myself in a scenario, I remind myself that, or in a situation, I remind myself that tomorrow is not promised to me. And today could be my last day on earth. So if today might be my last day on earth and tomorrow is not promised, do I really want to think about what this person did or what this person said to me? Do I really want to give them that space and that real estate in my mind? No, you do not. No, that person is not worth it. So I actually literally pretend that it could be, and it could be, very well could be my last day on earth. And I am forced to switch my attention to more positive things and, not really linger on that slight, that injustice, that everyday indignity that I suffered, right? So that is something that has helped me out tremendously. It doesn't mean that I don't get angry. It doesn't mean that I don't get upset, but I don't sit with it. I was like, all right, that upset me. So there are times where I have to call it out, start speaking to people in authority to say that this is not okay from your employees. Sometimes you got to do that, but oftentimes I think you should do that. But you don't sit with that stuff because it could be poison to your soul, and you can move from being temporarily angry and having things like that put you in a perpetual state of rage, and that anger will become a whole mood, and that mood will become a permanent disposition, and you don't want to be an angry person in the world. We have enough. The next strategy of release is physical release. So sometimes you might have to break something. But my advice when it comes to physical release is that make sure that you're not doing anything that's harmful or, that can have, a lasting negative impact somewhere. So, it's important, for some people watching this, the self-talk and the walking away may not be enough. You may have to physically go out and exert and release that energy through some sort of physical activity. And that's helpful as well. So whether it be you have to go for a run, through exercise, or through, some sort of contact sport that you're involved with, or even, recreationally, maybe playing a round of golf or something like that, something to get your mind and to distract you from, what's making you angry and what's provoked you. That's a good thing to do. So if it's some physical activity that you have to get involved with, the physical activity helps. That's a strategy. The self-talk, the giving yourself space. Those are all the things that helps. Also, going back to the talking point about talk. Yeah, sometimes you need to talk to people. So there may be times when you're angry about something. This is another effective strategy. You may need to talk to someone who you trust, who, someone in confidence, someone who can, but, here's a caveat and a warning with that. It's okay to tell people, hey, I just need to vent. I don't need you to solve my problems. I just need to get it off my chest. And it's okay to tell people, hey, can you just listen to me? I just need someone to listen to me. And, I just need a listening ear right now. I really need a friend. And it's good to tell people that, instead of just unloading on people, right? Because folks, you got to understand, folks are going through their own things, but you're dealing with a friend or a loved one, they'll understand, or, significant other, they'll understand. So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two, redirecting your anger. So we can use anger for a very good cause. A lot of great things in the world have been birthed because of people's anger about injustice or something that they've suffered in their lives. So we can redirect that angry energy into something positive. So for example, if you're artistic like me, you're frustrated and you're angry about something, you can go out and create some art. So you can actually use that anger to be creative, right? If you're a writer, go write. If you're a dancer, go dance. You're a musician, go write some music, play your instrument. So you can actually use that, channel that anger into creative energy. And for me, it's helped out a lot. Me being an artist, so you can actually use the anger to create something great and to redirect the anger in a great way. And actually, on a more macro level, there are things that we're angry about, that may not be impacting us personally, but things that are going on in the world that, we feel helpless about, and that problems that exist that upset us. For me personally, one of the things that really upset me is food insecurity. The fact that there are people that are starving in this world, that, and then there's parts of the world where we're actually throwing food away. That really, really enrages me, and it really makes me angry, and it's upsetting. And, my advice to you, if there are things that are happening in the world and in society that are going on that that's wrong, do whatever you can to help. I mean, it may not solve the problem for everyone, but maybe you can solve the problem for some people. So, I decided to, dedicate my money and my time and food to pantries, and, to literally sometimes going out on the street, feeding people. So, that's what I decided to do. A great example of this is my late father, right? So when I was younger, one of the things that he did, he was very, very upset about, I grew up in the projects and, low income area, and many of the kids that I grew up with, single parent household, not many fathers, not in the house. And this bothered my dad. He had his own family, he was in the house, but the condition of the children in the neighborhood really had an impact on him. And there was a lot of young Black boys out on the street getting into trouble, not having anything to do after school. And that really upset my dad. So what he decided to do, he decided to redirect his anger, right? And use his love and his passion for the game of baseball to help these kids, get these kids off the street. And he started a little league team in my area. And it was like really nothing like that there before. And so he recruited all these, most of these young boys did not have a father figure or a father in the home. And, my dad sort of like became like their mentor, and he helped, these kids out in the neighborhood. And I really truly believe that it had a very positive impact on their lives. And I can see as the season started and as they began to play, because I saw from the beginning when he started recruiting them to when they got their uniforms, and they were learning life skills and how to work with others and leadership skills, and they were getting exercise. And I could see the self-esteem of these young boys rising, being a part of this team, being a part of something, doing something constructive. And my father helped them. So we can use our passions, we can use our talents, we can redirect our anger and the things that upset us in society to doing something really great in the world, even if it's just helping a few people. So redirecting our anger could be a very positive and very impactful thing in the world. So when I get angry about things, I don't just think about it for me personally. I'm like, what can I do to help others and be a solution to the problem? So that is strategy number 2. And finally, long-term anger management strategy. Going back to what I started the video with, I said that it's my belief that, the world is becoming an angrier place. And this is just what I see. This is just my opinion. Maybe you will agree with me or not. But this is, you could turn on the news and see that, there's some angry people out here. And I believe this is a result of people not addressing their problems. There's a saying that says, problems do not age well, and they don't. The more a problem is around, the problems don't get better with time, right? So I think a strategy for us, in order for us to be happier people, is that we have to take the courage and be courageous in tackling our issues and our problems in life, because the more of the problems that we solve in our lives, the happier we'll be. Because what problems do, problems fuel anger. So the more problems that you have, and as they compound and you don't address things and you ignore things, you hope that it go away, it's just going to compound, it's going to build, it's going to escalate. And this is why we're seeing so many instances of people just blowing up and exploding over little minor things. And it doesn't make any sense. That's because people aren't addressing their mental health issues. People aren't addressing their emotional issues. People aren't addressing their financial issues. So many things, their relationship issues, people aren't addressing it as they should. So, and I know it's not easy, it's hard and it's painful, but we have to do it. So the more we address our issues, the more problems that we solve in our lives, the happier we'll be, and we're not feeding the anger. We're not compounding the anger. So please take the courage. Please move forward. Solve your problems. And I know it's not easy to confront your issues. I know it's not easy for me, but it's something that we have to do for maintenance in order to keep anger at bay, in order to keep peace. See, because when you're dealing with your problems and when you're solving your problems, you become a happier person. So when people do things to you that's wrong, that's unjust, that's not right, when they do provoke you, it will more easily roll off your back. Yeah, you might get upset about it, but you're not gonna, go crazy, foaming at the mouth and try to attack someone, right? You're not gonna obsess about it day and night, right? You're not gonna let it affect your mood and, your family time or, time with your friends and stuff like that, right? You're not gonna allow it to impact your work, right? So problem solving is very, very essential to long-term anger management. So that's all I have to share with you in this video. Please, take heart and remember these strategies whenever you feel anger, whenever you're dealing with anger. That's all I have for you. Take care. God bless. And I will see you in the next video.